Quite a few of you have actually taken the little PDF that I've put available called The 3 Essential Actions. And I've said in there that I would expand on this in one of the brain blasts, and that's what I want to do now. But for those of you that haven't seen the 3 essential actions, they're what has emerged from the curiosity approach, the curiosity for possibility that I've been working on and talking about so much. And if you do these 3 actions and you build these onto each other, you can actually change your frame. And I'll give you an example in a minute to show you how it can work. And the 3 essential actions are very simple. You start off with, that's interesting. Creating, igniting, what I call igniting the curious mind. So we need to make it interesting. We need to get interested in things, so change our brain so it's an interested brain. The second action is to find the message in the problem. The problem is so often the thing that's just on the surface. It's just a thing that we notice, and there's so much more going on. So what's behind the problem? What's the problem really trying to tell us all about? And the third one, which really comes in the curiosity for possibility, is what can I create? What more? What is this helping me? What new knowledge have I got so that I can now actually create something better? Now, in psychotherapy, this is really related to what we call the solution-oriented approach, where we're not looking for really getting too involved in the problem, but we're looking for what the problem can tell us and we can take into a solution. Ernest Rossi and Milton Erickson called it the symptom path to enlightenment. That's kind of cool, where you look at what's going wrong and not focus on fixing what's wrong, but understanding what's going wrong and how that can help you move into another phase. Now, really, let's give some examples of this so you can understand. And it's extraordinarily simple and it's extraordinarily effective. And I know there are lots and lots of therapies, and you can actually apply these 3 actions, these 3 essential actions, to almost any sort of therapy you're doing. If you're in business and you have different types of business practices and business things that you do, there's all kinds of different programs and stuff that you have. If you apply these 3 essential actions to those practices, to those routines, you'll actually change them. You'll actually make them into something more. And from that, you will be able to emerge not just with a simple the usual answer to the problem, but actually something that takes you further and stimulates you into a new sense of knowledge, a new sense of understanding. Now, here's a really simple example, and it's from my mental health work and my work as a psychotherapist. And that was somebody who rang me up with an enormous amount of grief and depression because they'd had a very recent loss with their partner, a sudden loss with their partner. Now, what can you do? You can't sit there and say, it'll be okay. I mean, for goodness sake, and she was quite young, only in their late 40s. And you can't do these sorts of consoling things and be serious. Certainly, you can do a lot of consoling, and you be there and you be present, and there are many things I talk about elsewhere about grieving and sudden loss. Particularly in work with post-suicide. But in this situation where here was this woman, and through tragedy she had lost her partner and she was just depressed out of her tree. Now, that's a brain state. And that brain state has got certain ways of chemicals, there's different flows of what we call energy and information flow in the head. And we want to change that. So I first went to, okay, that's interesting. What can I do? That's interesting that her head is in a state that I need to change. What can I do to change that? I make her curious. Now, for those of you who want to follow my curiosity approach, there are a number of papers and things written about this, and we will be bringing out the books, whether it's out now or coming out soon. But we want to change the brain. So I said to her, and we're just on the phone, and I said, you know, it's not about how he's gone, and I know that's hard, and that's almost impossible to deal with. But how does he stay? What are some of the ways in which he stays? Let's look around the room. I don't know. Where is he in the room now as you're sitting by the phone? And she'd looked around, obviously, and she came back to me and she said, wow, he used to stand over by that bookshelf. That was, he used to stand there and do that. Then she said, oh, and over there, that's one of his favourite ornaments that he would play with. And then he would do this over here, and that's where the television remote control channel used to be. And, oh, I remember that we did this over here. So she's got all this stuff going on. And I said, what I want you to do after we hang up is I want you to go around the house and I want you to remind yourself of all the ways in which he stays, all the ways in which you hear him and feel him and sense him. She said, wow. And I said, because you know what the message is to this problem. It's really simple. This isn't terrible that you're grieving. This isn't terrible that you're so upset. There's a simple message here. You really loved him and he really loved you. Now that's actually not a bad message. I know it's painful, the experience, but that's a really encouraging message. So what we need to create is we need to change your brain from this upset at the loss and realize that the upset is there, but add to it the curiosity and fascination of how he now stays. And she said to me, Richard, I'm different. What did you do? I still feel heartbroken and I still feel upset, but I don't feel despondent and I don't feel impossible and I don't feel, wow, that was pretty good, Richard. Anyway, she said goodbye. When she came and saw me a few days later, she said, I still feel okay. So there's a simple example. You're in business and you're dealing with somebody. Don't just go, you must, you got to, you got to go. Now that's interesting. I'm having difficulty here. There's resistance. Now what's that really telling me? Is it about work? Is it about me? Is it about them? And what can I create? What can I do that's different? So those are the 3 essential actions. Now you've got the PDF of that, but it'll be down below. You can get that and have a little look through. How about you try it out and leave on the message board. Leave us some messages of how it works out for you or what you think about the 3 essential actions. And I hope you enjoy this brain blast and I hope, wow, that we've ignited your curious mind. See ya.